With God, you are able. You are able to overcome social anxiety, you're able to face your fears, and you are able to do the things which you wouldn't have expected that you can do. Social anxiety is something which is so prevalent in this present society, especially with younger people. But I'm here to tell you that with God, you're able to make huge strides in overcoming your social anxieties and even excel in situations which you thought you were never capable of. And this is coming from someone who knows what it's like to have crippling social anxiety, experiencing it for most of my childhood and for some of my adulthood as well. This year during my trip to Zimbabwe, I was blessed enough to be presented with an opportunity to do something which I never thought I was capable of because my anxiety told me that I couldn't, and that's public speaking. By God's handiwork through family and church connections, I was invited along to share my testimony in front of a church and do a little bit of preaching in front of over 100 people. Leading up to that moment, just before I went out to speak, I was nervous, I'm not going to lie. But nevertheless, it was a truly amazing experience, and I'm grateful for God for putting me in that position, that situation where I was able to do so. For some people, this might not seem like a big deal, but for me, it was, because again, as someone who experienced crippling social anxiety for a very, very long time, I thought I would have never been capable nor able to do this, especially with having the particular fear of public speaking. Yet with God's help, I was able to, and I think I did a decent job as well. And just to put things into perspective a little bit, I used to be one of those kids in secondary school who couldn't and wouldn't even do a presentation in front of their classmates. Even in front of a class of 20, my anxiety would just boil up so much so that I would bail out of doing the presentation. And this isn't just at the ages of, 13 and 14 like it could be expected, but all the way up to sixth form where I was turning 18, I had this anxiety and this fear of presenting and speaking in front of a class. So, how did I go from being scared to speak in front of 20 people to confidently preaching in front of over 100 people? Well, I did that by trusting in God, leaning on Him, and giving my anxiety to Him. Without God in my life, there was a slight improvement in how I used to deal with my anxiety and the levels of anxiety that I used to have, but it reduced dramatically when I started to build a relationship with Him, when I learned more about Him, and I learned to lean and depend on Him. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. God has showed me that just rooting my confidence in Him, abiding in His word, and trusting in Him is enough to reduce my anxiety and is enough to overcome this problem which so many people face. And that's not to say that I'll never be anxious or nervous again, but the difference is now I know how to deal with it. I know to go directly to God, to find my refuge in Him, to find strength in Him, to find courage in Him. As I said, before speaking in front of that church, I was nervous and I was anxious, but I knew that if I was to call out to God, if I was to pray and lean on Him, that He would give me a sense of confidence, He would give me a sense of strength, and He will give me peace. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God." And Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." Remember, if you think that you can't face your anxiety or you feel like you can't do something, rebuke that thought, because through God you are able. In Jesus' name, we out.